Hello everyone, welcome to Rasayan Academy. Once again guys, it is our 27th name reaction in the series of 100 name reaction, and today we are going to be talking about the Remer Tiemann reaction. Alright, and it's a very simple reaction. The mechanism is quite different, right? And it gets asked in all of the exam, separately also for 2 marks, and also for when we are doing synthesis, then also it is included in the 4 mark question. So it's a very simple question, example, very simple reaction. Let's quickly see it. Alright guys, so let's see the Remer Tiemann reaction. So it is very simple: synthesis of orthoformyl phenol from phenols and chloroform in alkaline medium. What does that mean? That means that you are generating orthoformyl phenol like this from the phenols, yes, and chloroform. So you are taking chloroform in the alkaline medium, right? So what is the overall process? We are going to talk about that very shortly. So this is your overall reaction. First of all, you are taking a phenol in the presence of the alkaline medium and chloroform. Alright, you have the orthoformylation, which gives you the major product, and that is why we are taking this Remer Tiemann reaction to generate majorly the orthoformylation product. Now a common question is that why are we not getting the major para product? Okay, so we will look at the mechanism and we will also understand why that is not happening, or let's say why the ortho is the major product over here. Also, if one or both ortho positions are occupied, for examples, let's say the ortho position right over here and right over here, if both of these ortho positions are occupied, then our formylation could happen on the para position as well. Then it could happen on the para position. Alright, so for that our ortho positions have to be occupied. If we don't have them occupied, they are going to give us the ortho product only. Very well, so we move on to the next slide and see the mechanism of this reaction, which is very important. So yes, what is it? First step of the reaction, why are we taking the chloroform in the presence of alcohol or the alkaline medium? That is because we want the carbene formation. Okay, so the carbene is getting formed how? Let's see. The mechanism is alpha elimination. Yes, alpha elimination is the elimination of the electrophilic as well as nucleophilic group from the same carbon. Okay, so if we are talking about, for example, if we are talking about chloroform, here it is CH, Cl and Cl and Cl. Alright, so in the presence of a base, OH minus is going to take away a proton. That gives you the trichlorocarbon, carbanion basically. Yes, and the removal of the proton is further going to push away this chlorine from the same carbon to give you dichlorocarbene. This is dichlorocarbene. Now the carbene is a very reactive intermediate, and hence it's going to give us a very quick reaction, electrophilic substitution, which is the next step. Alright, so why electrophilic substitution only? Why not nucleophilic substitution? Yes, looks like the carbene has one electron pair, one lone pair, but no, this is not the lone pair of carbene. A carbene only has a sextet of electron, which means it has only 6 electrons. So these two non-bonding electron pairs are included in those 6 electron counting. 2 electrons in the bond, 2 electrons in this bond, and right over here only 6 electrons. So it is electron deficient, octet is not complete. That is why electrophilic aromatic substitution. Okay, so the second step is electrophilic substitution on the phenoxide ion. Now the thing is that guys, you must understand that, see how is the whole mechanism. Looks like a lot of stuff is going on around. Okay, but it's just constantly in the presence of the base, the phenol is going to form the phenoxide ion. So constantly this O minus is pushing away one by one all of the extra leaving group from the carbon. It is just that you will realize. So first of all, the first step is going to be the ortho attack on the electron deficient carbene carbon in this way. that gives you a negative charge on carbon. See, why does it get a negative charge? Because carbene by themselves, they are neutral. Even though they are electron deficient, but they are found to be neutral. Alright, so if the carbene is attacked, it is neutral, so it has a negative charge now. It has 8 electrons but 1 negative charge. That negative charge is going to remove, let's say there is a proton exchange, this proton is exchanged by the negative charge and the bond falls up to give you the phenoxide ion once again, and yes, the carbon has a proton now. Okay, from now onwards it's just like pulling, pushing and everything, right? So see, it's just pushing away one of the Cl minus, and that gives you an intermediate like this. Okay, very simple. Now the Cl minus is being pushed away, you have a electron deficient carbon. The carbon could be attacked by the oxygen. Oxygen is once again, or by the hydroxide I would say. Hydroxide is going to again move the bond like this, O minus. So the O minus comes up over here, forms the phenoxide ion once again. There is going to be a double bond over here, right? Yes. After that, once again, as you see, there is again a possibility of the O minus attacks, of the Cl minus leaving. So it is just like a push and pull taking place over here, and further you get this intermediate like this. And as you see, it is more like the enol system. It is more like the enol system, and it is going to undergo keto enol tautomerism to finally give you, it is the symbol of tautomerism that we are talking about, and it is going to finally give you this product, which is salicyl aldehyde. Now, so what is happening overall? First of all, you're getting the carbene formation. In the second step, that is the electrophilic substitution on the phenoxide ion, you are able to see that the first attack is the ortho attack of the phenoxide on the carbene, and after that it is just like pull and push of the electrons to finally give you the salicyl aldehyde, right? The mechanism looks very difficult, but it is very easy to remember if you once draw it by yourself. Alright, so the slide is looking very beautiful with all the arrows. I hope that you are going to try out the mechanism. Alright, so let's see first example. What do you see in this example? In the molecule that we have, the para position is already blocked. Okay, so we don't need to consider that first of all, because we are already getting the major product on the ortho. Yes, so the question remains, why are we getting the major product on the ortho? There are two reasons for it. Let's go back and see. The first reason is that the oxygen or the phenoxide ion is constantly helping, it's constantly indulging into the reaction with this carbon. So if the distance is smaller, it would be able to indulge faster into constantly, helping this carbon get away the chlorine and take up a hydroxy group, right? And the second thing is that also there is a hydrogen bonding, very stabilizing hydrogen bonding into this molecule, intramolecular. Alright, so yes, these two are good enough reasons that you get a major ortho product. If the ortho positions are blocked, then you get the para product. Alright, so what do you expect in this reaction? Once again, your carbene is going to be generated, dichlorocarbene, in this manner, and final product is going to be ortho formylation. This is CH3, sorry. CH3, there is not oxygen over here, it is CH3 methyl, just the same, and here you get the formylation. Alright, so this is our major product of the reaction. Once again, in example 2, what do you see? We see thiophene. How is the thiophene going to react? How is the thiophene going to react with CHCl3 and KOH? Basically, it is again going to generate the same carbene. But stop right here. Can we have some other carbene? Are we bored of this carbene? Alright, so if we have some other carbene, for example CH2Cl2, we would not have two leaving groups. Let's say this is dichloromethane. It is going to generate CHCl carbene. Alright, only monochlorocarbene like this. So in that case, you would not have 2Cl working as a leaving group. Alright, and if you want, you can try out the mechanism with this CHCl also. It is also going to give you a hydrolyzed product just the same way. Alright, so yes, we can use other carbenes, but the chloroform and the alkaline chloroform gives the best combination, not the other ones. So basically you are going to have different products with different kind of carbenes. We will see that in the other slide. What happens if you, for example, take CCl4, what happens then? Okay, and what happens if you take CHCl? This you can try out by your own. This I'm going to tell you. All right, chalo. So right, so sulfur, you already know that the thiophene molecule, okay, so the thiophene molecule or furan or pyrrole, all of them are attacking by the 2 and the 5 position. So they are going to give the attack like this. So if I draw the product, the final formylation product I am drawing, not the complete mechanism. If I draw the product, it is going to be like this, formylation on the second position. Alright, so this is your answer to this reaction. Similarly guys, if we take example number 3, over here, so what do you look at? You have a big molecule, but ultimately what are we concerned with? We are concerned with our basically chloroform and equivalent of base, that is going to give you dichlorocarbene. Alright, and that is going to insert on the ortho position, one of the ortho position, that is going to give you the same product. Okay, very simple. Over here we are not going to be concerned with anything that is in the side chain, because actually we know that it is our simple Riemer-Tiemann reaction that we are talking about. Okay, further, if we see a similar reaction on indole, now it's either it's on indole or it's on the pyrrole, it is going to be a little bit different as what we have seen in the case of thiophene. How is that different? Because this is going to give you ring expansion also. Chalo, let's talk about this, what is happening. Alright, nothing over here. Yes, just simple pyridine. Let's talk about this, what is happening. So usually when you have the indole, you already know the position of the attack is going to be on the third position. Yes, in the case of pyrrole and the 5-member ring, basically it is 2 and 5 for the electrophilic aromatic substitution. In the case of indole, it is the third position. Alright, so it's going to attack the carbene from here, and you get this intermediate. Let me just make some space. Right, so we are generating this kind of an intermediate. There's a positive charge on nitrogen, CCl2, there will be a minus charge. Okay, and alright, this is how it is going to be. Further, it is going to grab a proton, and also it can also give us insertion. In this manner, it can also give us insertion. I am drawing a mechanism other than the Riemer-Tiemann mechanism, right? I am trying to show you the extra product which has formed over here, not writing the Riemer-Tiemann mechanism for now. I have first of all done carbene insertion. Alright, this is a different reaction, carbene insertion into a carbon-carbon double bond. This is what I'm trying to write so that we get to the byproduct, which is right over here. Okay, so what just happens now is you see the bonds being pushed away in this manner, and that gives you the final molecule, which is the side product. And this is also another name reaction which we call usually the Densted rearrangement. Alright, usually call it the Densted rearrangement. So this is also another reaction, and hence when you want to react, when you want to do the Riemer-Tiemann reaction on the indole or on the pyrrole, then what do you get? You are not directly getting your product. This is going to form, but along with this a major side product is also formed. Alright, so be careful about it. On the pyrrole, on the indole, there could be ring expansion and Densted rearrangement to give you the side product like this. It is the quinoline derivative, and if you are starting with pyrrole, that is going to give you pyridine derivative. Alright, so yes, this is what we had to talk about. I hope that you liked all of these examples. Now we are going to move onward to a possibility where we have CCl4. Okay, so this is our example number 5. So here you have guys lots of examples to study from. Okay, yes, the reaction with CCl4, how does it proceed? Let's see. So CCl4 is a non-polar molecule, right? And it is not going to have carbene formation. So directly we expect if we have the phenolate ion, because the mechanism, the reagent are saying CCl4 and you have alcohol, basically the hydroxide, yes, and you're going to form the phenoxide ion from that. The phenoxide ion from the ortho position attacks like this. Okay, it is going to attack in this manner. So you get this intermediate in which there is ortho substitution on the, basically addition to the ortho carbon, which we don't want because we don't want to lose the aromaticity. So that is why it is going to become O minus. Once again the phenoxide is back here. Again you are going to have the same process, the push and pull mechanism, right? You're just going to have the same process, removing the chloride anion one by one. Cl minus removes from here, you get a double bond, and see, we don't have any pushing effect now, so the OH minus is going to attack. You form the phenoxide ion once again. So this is what you have. Again the phenoxide is going to interfere, it is going to help in the removal of one more Cl minus. Ultimately you get something like this. After that you can write the mechanism by your own self, because what are we seeing over here? Once again we see something like this, that is going to give you the phenoxide ion, but this time it gives you a double bond O and a Cl over here. And when the final Cl is removed, one more water molecule, or let's say one more hydroxide, is going to attack onto this positive carbon and finally gives you the acid. That gives you the salicylic acid, not the salicylaldehyde. Alright, so this is one of the variant of the Riemann-Tiemann reaction that I have told you. You can try it out by other carbenes also. Okay, so here we get our salicylic acid. Okay, alright guys, so this was our 5th example for the same Riemann-Tiemann reaction. I hope that you found it interesting. I hope that you are going to try the mechanism by yourself as well. Also, if you don't know, I am a full-time educator on the Unacademy for the CSIR net, and we try and complete the syllabus. In the CSIR net we have a lot of courses, a lot of individual courses, a lot of batch courses with other educators also. So if you want, you can check out my profile. There are a lot of free sessions, free live sessions already. Every month there are a lot of around 20 or 25 free sessions going on. Okay, free live sessions. So if you want, you can follow me over there to be notified about these live sessions. And also if you're liking the content, you can subscribe to Unacademy Plus, which is basically a paid platform. Okay, and in that you get access to all of the plus courses in which we are completing these syllabuses. Alright, and if you want to join Unacademy Plus, don't forget to use this code JAGRITI-S. That gives you a 10% discount on whatever is your subscription plan. Alright, so yes, if you are liking the content, do give a big thumbs up. Also share it with your friends guys, because I hope it's free videos are to be shared. Alright, and also subscribe to the channel if you already haven't. Yes, so that you get notified about everything. And also if you haven't yet joined my Telegram group, please do, so that you get timely notifications about everything. Link you are going to get in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video very soon.